My cheating wife lived the high life off me. Until this ATM shut down her cheating plans. So, my wife had the audacity to brag about how I'd always be her personal ATM, funding her fabulous lifestyle. Well, I decided to pull the plug on that little money fountain and left her standing there, empty-handed and fuming like a volcano ready to erupt. Not the type with big dreams or mad skills, but more like the one who fantasizes about leisurely brunches while riding the coattails of someone else's success into a cozy retirement. My wife loves to brag, "You'll always be my personal ATM." I walked away from her, leaving her face filled with a mixture of emotions. So, here I am, a 29-year-old dude, happily hitched to my amazing wife, Sarah, who's 28 and still puts up with my shenanigans after nearly 5 years of marriage. Can you believe it? So, picture this, I'm basically a serial entrepreneur, like the kind that keeps popping up like a whack-a-mole at the arcade. You know, always hustling and bustling, trying to turn ideas into gold. So, here's the deal, I kick off a business, watch it bloom like a well-watered plant, and then, when the right buyer strolls in with a tempting offer, I wave goodbye and cash in. It sounds simple, doesn't it? It might not be your typical 9-to-5 gig, but hey, it suits me just fine. So, here's the scoop, I've been at this gig for pretty much my entire adult life. Yup, that's right. It's like my second skin at this point. So, picture this, there I was, a free spirit, living my best life before I decided to tie the knot. Ah, the good old days. So there I was, just a sprightly 19-year-old, diving headfirst into the wild world of entrepreneurship. Fast forward 2 years, and I was waving goodbye to my first business at the ripe old age of 21. Who knew adulting could be this thrilling? Despite it not being a traditional source of income, I have managed to earn a respectable living from it. Who knew, right? You know what I do? I always have a little cash flow going while I'm cooking up my next big idea. And when that sale finally hits, oh boy, it's like finding a treasure chest in your backyard. In the most humble sense, we are truly enjoying the good life here. Life's treating us pretty darn well, to be honest. Picture this, sun-soaked vacations, a stunning house that makes you feel like royalty, and all the goodies we ever dreamed of. We are truly living the dream, don't we? Okay, so I'm not trying to brag here, but you really need this little nugget of info to get the full picture of my story. Just hang tight and go with the flow. It was a real treat to be the one bringing home the bacon, and let me tell you, Sarah was all about that. She definitely knew how to milk it for all it was worth. Once upon a time, before our paths crossed, Sarah was the queen of the front desk at a fancy salon, juggling phone calls and fabulous hairdos like a pro. She was always going on about how she dreamed of starting her own boutique one day, and I was totally on board with that idea. Well, let me tell you, I've dabbled in the fine art of starting businesses more times than I can count, so naturally, it struck me as a brilliant idea. She was the expert, and with my savvy business skills, it hit me like a light bulb, we could totally make this thing fly. I was totally stoked that she was on the hunt for ways to level up and rake in some extra cash. So, there I was, minding my own business, when she drops the bombshell, she wants to dive into the world of cosmetology. And let me tell you, I was totally on board with that. So, there she was, ready to toss her work hat in the ring and dive headfirst into the world of learning. And guess what? I enthusiastically supported her, akin to a proud coach at a crucial match. If she hit the books full-time, she'd be tossing that graduation cap in the air in just a year. Talk about a speedy exit from the school grind. I earned sufficient income to ensure our comfort and financial security. So, I figured, why not step in for a bit? Let her concentrate on enhancing her skills while I assume responsibility. Well, let me tell you, things didn't exactly go according to her grand plan. So, picture this, she totally skipped class. Yup, you heard that right. So, she decided to take the plunge, signed up for school, got the golden ticket of acceptance, and even forked over the cash. Talk about commitment. Let's get real here, I forked over some serious cash for that fee, and let me tell you, it wasn't exactly pocket change. So, picture this, I find out she's not going, and boom. We're in the middle of a colossal argument. It was like a scene straight out of a drama, minus the popcorn. She kept saying, "No worries. I can just dive back into my classes whenever I'm ready." Like, as if school was a pool and she was just waiting for the perfect cannonball moment. So here's the deal, she was always fashionably late, but like, way too fashionable. Ready? Nope, not a chance. She was basically a professional doom scroller, lounging in the living room, glued to Instagram and TikTok like they were the last lifeboats on the Titanic. So, picture this, she finally decides to step outside, and what does she do? She totally skips class. Classic move, right? She typically just cruised over to chill with her pals. So, picture this, they either hit the mall like it's a treasure hunt or dine out at the fanciest spots, snapping a dozen pics for their Instagram stories like they're the next big influencer. It's a whole vibe. You won't believe it, but there was this one time I totally lost my cool with her. It was like a volcano erupting, and I was the lava. So, there I was, having this light bulb moment, when it hit me like a ton of bricks. She wasn't even thinking about going to school. Can you believe it? So, I confronted her about the whole lying thing, you know? I mean, come on. I just dropped a ton of cash for absolutely nothing. She burst out laughing and said that cash was just pocket change for me. She said I'd be back in a flash, and let me tell you, I had a whole treasure chest stashed away. She didn't even bother to whip up a good excuse. She totally made it seem like I was just being dramatic. Can you believe it? She was just cracking jokes about torching tens of thousands of dollars like it was no big deal. I mean, who does that? It's like laughing while juggling chainsaws, just wild. Oh, let me tell you, when she said it was just pocket change, I nearly choked on my coffee. That amount? Not so trivial in my world, my friend. It was like finding a unicorn in my wallet, rare and definitely worth more than a casual shrug. I put in the sweat and tears for this one, folks. Money? Oh, I never strutted around like it was just falling from the sky. Nope, I treated it like a rare Pokemon, hard to find and even harder to catch. Hey there, money maestro. If you've got a little extra cash in your pocket, especially because you hustled for it, don't just let it sit there like a forgotten sandwich. Treat it like the treasure it is. I was fuming at her complete lack of consideration, and let me tell you, I didn't even try to play it cool. I let loose on her like a fire-breathing dragon, telling her she had totally lost the plot when it came to money. I even threw in a dramatic threat about canceling her card and cutting off her access to my precious funds if she didn't hit the books or land a job. Talk about a family showdown. She went on and on, acting like I was some kind of control freak. It was like she had chugged a whole bottle of empowerment juice straight from the TikTok or Twitter fountain of ridiculousness that single women sip from. So, she was all like, "You can't just cut me off, that's abuse." I mean, really? Who knew setting boundaries could be such a dramatic affair? I wasn't about to fall for her guilt trip shenanigans. So there I was, standing my ground like a rock in a river, and when she realized I wasn't budging an inch, she finally threw in the towel and promised to get a job. Classic move, right? And just like that, she never landed a job after that little adventure. I was convinced she was on the hunt, and she kept telling me she was putting in the applications. Classic, right? There were a couple of times when she decided to put on her best interview face and hit the streets for some job hunting adventures. So, after what felt like an eternity of hunting, I began to wonder if I had accidentally stumbled into a real-life episode of a mystery show. Was there something off in the universe? So, there I was, fully aware that the job market was taking a nosedive, but let me tell you, my gut was whispering some pretty juicy suspicions too. So, there she was, already pulling a classic move, backing out of a promise like it was a bad date, when she said she'd hit the books and go to school before. Classic, right? So, I thought, why not throw a little curveball her way? So, I thought I'd be the hero of the day and offered to help her jazz up her resume and cover letter. But the moment I did, she turned into a secret agent, all shifty and mysterious. What's the deal? Did I just suggest a covert operation or something? So, she starts off by saying there's no need for my help because her buddy hooked her up with a pro who worked some magic on her resume. Classic, right? So there I was, trying to peek at her resume, but she was acting like it was the crown jewels or something. The more she hesitated, the more my doubts started doing a little dance in my head. So, I just kept going, like a stubborn little engine that could. So, I went ahead and told her that a bunch of those resume builders are basically just fancy con artists, clueless about what they're actually doing. I figured it was time to do a little digging and prove my point. So, I casually dropped a little reminder that, you know, I'm kind of a pro at sifting through resumes in my job. Just a little nugget of wisdom. Oh boy, when she whipped out yet another excuse, it hit me like a ton of bricks. She was totally spinning a yarn. So I ditched the fluff and got real. I told her, look, I'm about 99% convinced you're pulling my leg here. So how about you show me that shiny new job application of yours? She totally went on the defensive, claiming I was trampling all over her trust like it was a doormat at a busy entrance. I wasn't about to let this slide. I kept nudging her, like a dog with a bone, begging for an email or any scrap of proof that she hadn't been spinning me a yarn for the last few months. She pulled out every excuse in the book, like a magician revealing all her tricks, but in the end, she couldn't help but spill the beans and fess up to the truth. She was just throwing out job applications like confetti, all to get me to stop bugging her. So, I confronted her about the little fib, and she casually dropped the bomb that she just wanted to shut me up about cosmetology school and landing a job. Classic move, right? Who knew my nagging was that powerful? So, she casually drops this bombshell: you make enough dough, so why should I bother working? All she wanted was to kick back, put her feet up, and soak in the good vibes. You know, just living her best life without a care in the world. Isn't that the whole idea behind snagging a wealthy hubby? That's when it hit me like a ton of bricks. This whole shindig was just a fancy, pricey scheme to get her out of doing any actual work. So, picture this, she never really planned on hitting the books or walking those hallowed halls of learning. Nope, school was not on her to-do list. She totally figured I wouldn't be on board with her grand plan to ditch the job and become a professional couch potato. And you know what? She totally nailed it on that one. I'm all about that equal effort game in relationships, you know? It's like a two-person dance. If one of us is just standing there, it's going to be a pretty awkward shuffle. So there I was, working my tail off all day, making sure she was living the high life of comfort, while she was just lounging around like a cat in the sun, not lifting a finger for a relationship. Classic, right? She was glued to her phone all day or off gallivanting with her pals. Calling her a housewife would be a stretch, considering she treated housework like it was a game of hide and seek, except she was always hiding and never seeking. Cooking? Nah, that was not her jam. We had a cleaner swooping in twice a week to save the day instead. So, I threw down the gauntlet and gave her one final warning. I told her, listen, our marriage is like a team sport, and if you're not putting in some effort, we're not going to win any championships. She couldn't just lounge around, burning cash like it was going out of style while doing absolutely nada. She gave me that classic eye roll and was like, just because you're raking in the dough doesn't mean I owe you a thing. She looked me dead in the eye and declared, I'm your wife, not your employee, buddy. So, it's your job to spoil me. Making demands of her? Yeah, that wasn't going to fly. Not on my watch. You won't believe what I heard. She was like a totally different person from when we first started dating, definitely not this entitled diva back then. It was like I was having a heart-to-heart with a brick wall, no response, just me and my thoughts bouncing off the surface. Talk about a one-sided conversation. No matter how hard I tried, it was like talking to a brick wall. Seriously, I could have been reciting Shakespeare, and she still wouldn't have budged an inch. She acted like lying to me for months was just a casual Tuesday. No acknowledgement, no remorse, just a big ol' shrug like it was no big deal. That day was a real doozy. We just spun our wheels, going round and round in circles like a couple of confused hamsters. No destination in sight, just a whole lot of back and forth banter. So, there I was, laying down the law like a boss, telling her I'd be hitting the pause button on her cards until she figured out her next move. Drama, right? So, I casually dropped the bomb: she could either snag a job, hit the books, or tackle some good old housework. Choices, choices. So, it was totally her call, but come on, it was high time she rolled up her sleeves and started contributing a bit, right? I didn't show up to play the dad role, that's for sure. She sulked and grumbled like a kid who just lost their favorite toy, but the moment she realized I was dead serious, she flipped the script and got all feisty on me. So there I was, minding my own business, when she suddenly erupted like a volcano, yelling about financial abuse. Apparently, I was now the designated ATM for her fabulous lifestyle, no questions asked. Who knew I signed up for that gig? So, she threw out this question like it was a hot potato: what's the whole deal with being successful if you can't just kick back and live life on your own terms? I mean, what's the point, right? Oh man, that really got my goat. So, I'm out here busting my chops to make everything cozy and comfy, and she can't even manage to lift a finger? Seriously? So, let me get this straight, she thinks she should be living the high life on my hard-earned cash just because she's a woman? Really? That's a bold strategy, Cotton. That just didn't vibe with me, you know? Like trying to wear socks with sandals, just feels off. Text time all about being the provider, but let's be real, I'm not here to be someone's punchline. So, I decided to hit the brakes on that one. Well, Not entirely, you know. So, I went ahead and cancelled all her cards, but don't worry, I left her one. It's got a super tight budget limit, just enough for a little retail therapy without going overboard. You know, just trying to keep things interesting. That should totally take care of her must-haves, with just a smidge of cash to splurge on something fun. So there I was, all set to teach her a lesson, thinking I was the wise one in this little saga. But plot twist. I ended up being the one with the lesson learned. Classic, right? There was this little voice in my head, just poking and prodding, like a persistent toddler asking for a cookie. If she could pull off this level of acrobatics just to dodge a little work, imagine what other shenanigans she's got up her sleeve. It was like I was chatting with a total stranger, a complete mystery wrapped in a riddle. Who even was this person? I had no clue. 1 minute, I was all in, trusting her like she was my favorite pair of socks. The next? Poof. Just like that, all my trust vanished into thin air overnight. Talk about a plot twist. So, I went on a little detective mission. Okay, I'll come clean, it wasn't my debut performance. You know, there was this one time when we were dating, and I couldn't shake off a few sneaky suspicions. It was like my inner detective was on high alert. So there I was, empty-handed and vowing to myself that I'd never go down that road again. Lesson learned, right? Right? But here I was, feeling like I had zero options left on the table. So, picture this, a few nights ago, I played the ultimate game of stealth. I waited until she left her phone charging upstairs, and then I went full-on detective mode and snooped through it. So, it was mostly just a flurry of texts flying back and forth with her pals. So there I was, diving into the depths of her recent antics, hoping to uncover the secret sauce behind her sudden change. What on earth had gotten into her? It was like trying to solve a mystery with a magnifying glass and a whole lot of curiosity. So, the first juicy tidbit I stumbled upon was that she'd been spilling the tea about her latest escapades to a few of her pals. So, there she was, getting the kind of advice that made her feel like a trophy on a shelf. Someone actually told her to quit her job because, you know, a woman like her is just too precious to be working. Can you believe that? Talk about a plot twist. That statement was dripping with entitlement, and let me tell you, it got my blood boiling. But hey, I soldiered on and kept reading. So, there I was, just minding my own business, when I stumbled upon another one of her pals, Kelly. Cue the dramatic music. But hold on a second, Kelly? Yeah, she wasn't a friend at all. More like a plot twist in a bad rom-com. She wasn't even a woman, folks. Just a figment of imagination, a character in a wild story that never quite made it to the big screen. Can you believe that? It didn't take a detective with a magnifying glass to figure out that Kelly was just a dude she was getting cozy with. Well, it seems like they've been playing hide-and-seek with their hearts for a hot minute, huh? So, we're talking a couple of months, give or take a few, right? Like, enough time to binge-watch an entire series or learn to juggle flaming torches, if that's your thing. I was totally crushed, like a soda can under a giant's foot. Seriously, it felt like my heart was doing the cha-cha on a dance floor made of broken dreams. Text oh boy, let me tell you, Sarah was not the same person I once knew. So, there I was, minding my own business, when I found out she'd been pulling the wool over my eyes. I mean, I knew she was a bit of a fibber, but this was like a plot twist straight out of a soap opera. Who knew betrayal could come with such a dramatic flair? We could have tackled the other stuff, but this one? Oh boy, it crossed the line. So, there I was, pulling out all the stops to make her feel like a true partner in our little love saga, but guess what? Total flop. Clearly, my efforts were just a big ol' waste of time. I was scrolling through those messages like a kid in a candy store, but instead of sweets, it was just pure disbelief. Seriously, my jaw was on the floor. So, on top of all those flirty texts, she decided to throw in some good-natured teasing too. Classic move, right? She'd say, "Oh darling, it's not you I adore, it's your wallet that makes my heart race." So, he casually asked her if she was worried about me discovering the truth someday. And her response? Oh, it was a real gem. She just smiled and said she'd be thrilled because, let's be honest, I'd still be footing the bill for her fabulous lifestyle, come what may. If I pulled the plug on this marriage, she'd waltz away with half my stuff, and they'd be living it up like royalty together. I had officially reached my limit, folks. Oh, here we go again. That was exactly what she had thrown at me during our last epic showdown. That I'd be her personal ATM for life. She really had me pegged as the village idiot, didn't she? Like I was just wandering around with a sign that said, "Please underestimate me." Oh, you thought I was just going to roll over and take this like a sleepy puppy? Not a chance. She must have been thinking, wow, I've pulled off this lying gig for so long, I'm basically a pro. Hey, just to clear the air, I'm not exactly a dimwit here. Well, if there's one thing I've learned, it's that trusting her was like giving a cat a bath, just a recipe for disaster. Who knew my biggest blunder would be believing in her? Lesson learned, folks. So, there I was, not exactly jumping into the deep end of the confrontation pool just yet. So, there I was, playing detective, gathering all the juicy bits of evidence like a squirrel hoarding acorns for winter. It took me a hot minute, but hey, good things come to those who wait, right? She was always diving into her phone, snagging screenshots of her messages like a digital detective, and keeping a detailed log of her comings and goings from the house. You know, just in case someone needed to know her every move. So, I decided to ring up a lawyer and kick off the whole divorce adventure. Fun times, right? I spilled all the beans to him. So there she was, refusing to lift a finger at work, spinning tails like a pro, and playing the field like it was a game of tag. And oh boy, the evidence? It was like a neon sign flashing guilty. So there I was, casually dropping the prenup bomb on him like it was just another Tuesday. You should have seen his face. So, before we tied the knot, Sarah and I decided to whip up a little prenup. You know, just in case love went a little sideways. It kept all my business goodies safe and sound, just like a superhero guarding my personal treasures. But hey, she really hit the jackpot with that one. She'd snag a decent alimony and a nice chunk of the marital goodies. Cha-ching. And that's probably why she was strutting around like she had a golden ticket to all my stuff. But little did she know, it was all about a no-fault divorce. Surprise. The infidelity clause was like the rulebook for what goes down in a scenario like this. Spoiler alert, it's not pretty. So, here's the scoop, she's walking away with zero cash, and the court gets to play judge and jury when it comes to splitting up the marital goodies. Talk about a game of legal monopoly. So, my lawyer just dropped the bombshell that she's ready to throw down over this prenup. Buckle up, folks. He's got this gut feeling that luck is about to throw a party in my honor. She's blissfully unaware, just going about her day like a cat in a sunbeam, totally oblivious to the shenanigans brewing around her. Oh, I'm counting down the days until I get to see all her dreams go poof. It's going to be a real show, folks. So there you were, hustling day in and day out, pouring your heart and soul into building businesses from scratch. You took those financial leaps like a daredevil on a tightrope, all while juggling the stress of making it all come together. Talk about a wild ride. And she thought that was her golden ticket to retirement? Oh, let's be clear, this isn't a partnership, folks. No high fives or team huddles here. Well, it looks like we missed the boat on that one. No chance to whip up something awesome together, huh? Imagine living the full-time influencer dream, but without any of that pesky influencing part. Just the glam, the selfies, and maybe a few avocado toasts thrown in for good measure. Honestly, it feels like she hit the pause button on partnership the second those wedding gifts were unwrapped. Like, surprise. Where'd the teamwork go? Time for a little update, folks. So, everyone was buzzing to find out how my tale wrapped up, and I figured it'd be a total bummer to keep you all in suspense. Hey folks, did you know that prenups aren't just set in stone? Yep, they can actually be contested. Who knew love could come with a side of legal drama, right? Oh, absolutely. They can be a real hoot sometimes. So, picture this, the judge, sitting there like a wise old owl, might just throw a curveball and side with the woman if things are looking a bit lopsided. Fairness, folks, it's the name of the game. Well, color me shocked. Just kidding, not really a shocker at all. Your prenup is like a superhero cape for your finances, swooping in to save the day and keep your assets safe. But, you know how it goes, once again, the system swoops in like a superhero, treating the woman like she's a delicate little flower who can do no wrong. Classic, right? Alright, hold on to your hats because you won't believe what went down when she got wind of what was headed her way. So there I was, strutting in like a boss with divorce papers in hand, ready to drop the ultimate bombshell. Talk about a dramatic entrance, right? You should have seen her face. It was like I just told her the sky was green. Priceless. Totally made all the craziness worth it. So, she just hit me with the classic question, why do you want to end things? So, there I was, casually dropping the bombshell that I was in the loop about Kelly. You know, just a regular day of spilling secrets and stirring the pot. She froze for a hot second, like a deer caught in headlights. So there she was, all casual-like, and she just dropped the bomb. "You didn't think we should chat about this at all?" I told her there was no point in chatting because her texts had already spilled all the tea. So, I gave her a little nudge and said, "Hey, remember when you promised you'd be all smiles if I figured this out? You know, the part where you get a slice of my cash?" She kicked things off with the same old shenanigans. So, she casually dropped the bomb that all those messages? Yeah, totally not meant to be taken seriously. Classic, right? She was totally over that other dude. So, there she was, having one of those days where the feels hit hard, and boom, she slipped up. Classic, right? I said to her, "Listen, the nitty-gritty? Not my jam." Oh, I could practically hear the fibs rolling off her tongue like a well-rehearsed stand-up routine. Classic her. All I was interested in were the juicy details, which I stumbled upon on her phone, and now they're chilling in a folder at my lawyer's office, just waiting for their big moment. I said, "Hey, we can hash out all the juicy details in court." Her eyes went as big as saucers. "Well, guess what? We've got ourselves a prenup. No need to drag ourselves into a courtroom drama, folks." You know, I was a bit taken aback when I realized she hadn't done her homework at all. I mean, I thought she was a genius or something, but clearly, I was giving her way too much credit. She was totally dazzled by the idea of scoring a fortune without lifting a finger. I chuckled and nudged her to take a gander at it up close. So, picture this, her lawyer takes a gander at the document, and suddenly, it's like a light bulb goes off. She's all in for a courtroom showdown. I just bounced out, leaving her standing there with that classic "what just happened?" look on her face. Priceless. So, there I was, twiddling my thumbs, waiting for a message from her. Crickets. Then, out of the blue, my lawyer pops up with the juicy gossip. She signed the papers, and now they're itching to throw down over the prenup. Oh, the drama. He gave me a little pep talk, saying they were just rolling the dice, but hey, the document was solid, and there wasn't a whole lot they could do about it. Classic, right? So, my lawyer totally nailed it when they said they were going to throw down the gauntlet on that prenup. Who knew a piece of paper could spark such drama? They attempted to spin it like it was some kind of injustice against her. They were all fired up, claiming it totally snatched her rights away like a kid stealing candy from a jar. You won't believe this. They were going back and forth, claiming the infidelity clause was totally unfair. But here's the kicker, it basically forced her to fess up to the fact that, yep, she had indeed cheated. Talk about a plot twist. It was like a roller coaster of giggles and grumbles all at once. So, she fessed up to cheating but then had the audacity to debate what's fair? Talk about a plot twist. Lucky me. The judge was on our side and decided to give us the win. Talk about a plot twist. So, he goes and declares that the infidelity clause in the prenup is totally fair, like, maybe even a bit too fair given the whole situation. Can you believe that? Look, I wasn't pulling a fast one on her or anything, and trust me, she's not going to be living in a cardboard box once all this is sorted out. She might not be living the high life she dreamed of, but let's be real, the court was totally unfazed by her aspirations. The court wasn't too thrilled about her cheating ways or her complete aversion to clocking in for a job. So, the judge took a good look at the prenup and said, "Yep, this is solid." And just like that, she walked away with nada, no alimony, no slice of my businesses. Ouch, right? So, picture this, our marital treasure chest, filled with joint accounts and property, got split right down the middle. It was like a game of tug-of-war, but with a lot more paperwork and a lot less fun. So, picture this, the house was my little fortress, always in my name, like a crown jewel in my prenup treasure chest. She couldn't lay a finger on that beauty, no matter how hard she tried. Sarah was absolutely fuming, like a kettle ready to blow its top. Well, let me tell you, she had her eyes on the prize, but in the end, all she got was a big ol' nothing burger. Talk about a letdown. Picture this, a courtroom, all serious and stuff, and then, boom. She just blows up like a balloon at a kid's birthday party. Talk about a dramatic twist. I had to rein in my inner champion, but let's be real, I couldn't help but flash a grin. Watching her plans blow up in her face was like a front row seat to a comedy show, pure catharsis. Who knew failure could be so entertaining? Oh, she definitely wasn't finished with me yet. The very next day, she rang me up and let me have it, no holds barred. So there I was, minding my own business, when she accused me of being a thief. Can you believe it? She even threw in the wild claim that I was financially abusing her. Talk about a plot twist. I chuckled and said, how on earth is that even possible? We're not even a thing anymore. So, here I am, scratching my head, trying to figure out how she morphed into this total materialistic princess. Like, did she wake up one day and decide that sparkly things were her new best friends? What's the story there? She was all like, "Oh, you think that's the end of it? Just wait until I appeal this court decision." She was convinced there had to be some kind of law against it, like a secret rule that only she knew about. So, she's saying it's totally unfair that we stacked up all these shiny assets while we were hitched, and somehow, she thinks she's not entitled to a single penny of it. Can you believe that? When she said assets, she was totally talking about my business. Oh, that was a real gem. I spilled the beans for her. Let me tell you, she wasn't exactly the architect of my business empire. You better believe I pulled that off all by myself. She was about as useful as a chocolate teapot in that situation. So, I casually dropped the bomb that she could totally appeal if she felt like it. No pressure, right? I couldn't wait to watch her toss her last few bucks into the legal money pit if that's what she wanted to do. Well, that was a classic case of all bark and no bite. I mean, I was waiting for the drama of an appeal, but crickets. Nothing ever came of it. Talk about a letdown. Honestly, it seems like she's been pulling off some serious Houdini moves, slipping away with way more than she should have. So there I was, thinking I had found the one, only to discover she was more like a magician. Poof. She lied, cheated, and then had the audacity to eye my wallet like it was a treasure chest. Classic, right? In my book, she was definitely a gold digger, no doubt about it. A shark on a mission, and guess what? It had its eyes set on all my goodies. But let me tell you, I hit the jackpot on this one. Man, let me tell you, things could have taken a nosedive without that prenup in our back pocket. Talk about dodging a bullet. You know, it's wild to think that all the blood, sweat, and tears I poured into my business could have gone up in smoke just because some money-hungry 304 thought it'd be a blast to party on my tab. Can you believe that? Talk about a plot twist. So, Sarah and I? Yeah, we're not exactly pen pals. In fact, we're more like ships passing in the night, if those ships were on completely different oceans. So, as I mentioned earlier, we're pretty much out of things to chat about. So, guess what? She pulled a fast one on me and decided to play the field. Can you believe it? So there she was, ready to make it rain, trying to cash out like a boss. And guess what? She totally lost. Oopsie daisy. Well, folks, it's time for me to pack my bags and hit the road of life. Onward and upward, right? Let the adventures begin. And guess what? I'm totally thriving without her. Who knew I could bloom like this? You won't believe it, but my business is absolutely crushing it right now. It's like I found the secret sauce for success, and I'm just pouring it all over everything. Who knew running a business could feel this good? Seriously, it's like I'm riding a roller coaster of profits and high fives. Honestly, I can't say I'm sitting here pining away for her. Nope, not even a little bit. What's there to miss about a leech like her, right? Well, looks like she's got to dive into the job pool now. No floaties allowed. Well, there goes her dream of living the high life, huh? So, here's the scoop. My buddy spotted her swiping away on dating apps recently, which makes me think her little fling didn't quite pan out. Talk about a plot twist, right? I can just picture him hitting the trails the moment he heard she didn't snag the juicy divorce settlement she was bragging about. Talk about a quick getaway. So there she was, all shattered and flying solo like a lone sock in the dryer. I mean, honestly, I didn't shed a single tear for her. Not even a tiny one. Well, there you have it, just another delightful slice of karma served up on her plate. Oh boy, you won't believe this. I was absolutely thrilled to find out she was footing the bill for the grand finale of our marriage. Talk about a plot twist. Hey folks, if you're feeling like someone's pulling a fast one on you, it's time to take action. So, you're the go-to person, but hey, you're not a walk-in cash machine. Seriously, folks, do yourself a favor and snag a prenup. It's like insurance for your love life, better safe than sorry, right? Hey, this little gem could totally save your bacon one day. So, picture this, she takes a sip of her drink, and then, bam. The look on her face is priceless. It's like someone just told her that her favorite ice cream flavor is discontinued. You can practically see the gears turning in her head as she processes what just happened. Classic. Oh boy, we're talking about a classic case of narcissism here. You know, the kind that's straight out of a textbook. It's like they took a masterclass in self-obsession and graduated with flying colors. Oh, you hit the nail on the head there. So, prenups might not be the ultimate shield, but they sure can be a lifesaver when someone's eyeing your stuff like it's a Black Friday sale. She figured she'd struck gold by tying the knot with a guy who clocked in more hours than a coffee-fueled barista, ready to cash in on that sweet jackpot. Well, instead of a fairy tale ending, she just got hit with a big ol' reality check. And now she's off to tackle the very thing she dodged like a game of dodgeball throughout the whole marriage. Time to dive into the wild world of job hunting. Let's go snag that gig. We want to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let the chatter begin. Hey there! Big thanks for hopping on board with us today in our little corner of the universe. Hey there! Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and give that notification bell a good ol' ring-a-ding so you're always in the loop for our next epic video adventure. Catch you on the flip side.